Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche pregame show presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up for a new account to get amazing odds boost every single day. Avs taking on the New Jersey Devils, and there is a somewhat deranged scenario where the Avs could theoretically clinch the Central Division today. Obviously, the Avs have to win. Minnesota has to lose, which is not looking great at the moment. I think they're up 1-0 on Dallas, and you also need Calgary to lose.
It's the most oddest time of the year.
That's wrong. You need I think you need St. Louis to lose in any fashion, and Minnesota needs to lose in reg, I believe, are what is required for the Avs to clinch the Central.
Or you just kick the can down the street to Saturday.
You literally wait 2 days and deal with it then. Probably the more realistic scenario. But it could theoretically happen tonight. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Avs,
I love when you get into this time of the season and people are doing like
all sorts of math.
Oh, like especially like if you're one of those teams that's on the bubble, you're like, now if this happens and this happens and then this team loses the way out, we're in.
Just this perfect scenario has to play out exactly like this.
The wind blows right at 3 p.m.
Exactly. Yeah. Perfect things happen. You can get it. Look, the Avs were that team 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Times change quickly, so
made for a fun game 82.
Sure did. Worked out for the Avs that year. No doubt about it. The year after they clinched in game 81. So
yeah.
The Avs have paid their dues on that front. There's zero doubt about it. Tonight on the back-to-back, you're getting Pavel Francouz, of course, in net against New Jersey. Can the Avs get themselves up for this game? That's what I'm going to ask, because they're clearly a better team than New Jersey on paper. But for the second time this season, they're playing New Jersey on a back-to-back.
Yeah, crazy, right? I believe they lost, 5-2, 5-3.
5-3,
They went up 3-0
Yep.
and then let in 5 straight goals. That might be something that's kind of driving them, that they don't want to lose to this team twice, especially a team that's not going to be making the playoffs in the East. That maybe they will get up, try to psych themselves up. Like we've talked about, though, whatever you get out of this team on the second half of a back-to-back,
Yep.
who cares?
Agreed.
And you might be right. They might have some senioritis right now and just not really care about this game.
You're inside of Game 10. Certainly the Central Division and Western Conference clinch are pretty much inevitable at this point, barring chaos. So
it's how much weight do you put on them chasing the Panthers for the President's Cup?
None.
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't like. I'm sure they want to win every night, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think they care whether they're the true number 1 seed of the league or the number 2.
Yeah.
I don't think that matters that much to them.
It almost feels like Groundhog's Day around here, though, because we always talk about this, like, what are they going to do? And then they've been really good on the back-to-backs.
Show up and drop 9 on the Kings.
Yep.
It's the front half, but still. They have been, too. I think they only have 1 regulation loss in back to New Jersey, no less, in back-to-back second halves this year. So it's definitely something they've found a way to be effective on. Can they keep it up is the question. And obviously they can. Will they is the real question. And maybe. I think it's perfectly fair to assume that they'll continue to be good.
Yeah.
So
I think it really depends on what New Jersey Devils team shows up. This is a team that has talent, has some injuries. Obviously, Hughes isn't playing tonight, still injured.
Yeah.
But they have this consistency problem where from night to night you're getting different teams showing up. So, that's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard being there. So I'm guessing that this team will probably go through a coaching change regime this year.
Most likely.
I think it's probably time, and especially with some of the young studs that they have in the stable, they'll probably want to get a fresh start.
In the right direction. I agree with you on that one. So we'll see exactly how things shake out. As far as the Avs are concerned, honestly, and I have it right here as our first topic. one of the things that I think is going to keep him going is personal milestones to get to in the rest of this season with just 9 games left to go. As we get a $10 super chat here from Banks, who says, can it be May already, flying from Charlotte for the games and to see the Crew for conference finals and finals when the Avs make it and win it? Let's go!
That's a great time to come out. Wow.
Confidence with the ticket buying. I like it. Should be fun. Hope to see you then, Banks. There's a couple of major ones on the horizon here, but a lot of players actually have some milestones to hit here. Mikko just 3 points shy of 90. Hey, there's a universe where he could make 100, but it's pretty unlikely. Kale obviously needs 4 goals for 30, and then he's at 81 points right now, so one more point would get him to the magic 82 number.
Well, and he's running for the Norris there.
Yeah, obviously has Norris implications there. After last night, McKinnon just 1 goal shy of 30, so that's one that you definitely expect to see him hit there. And then you kind of just go on down the list. Devontae is currently sitting at 55 points, could make a push for 60. Nichushkin hit his milestone the other night with 20 goals, so he's awesome. Pretty set. But a handful of other guys, Newhook 1 point shy of 30, Gerard 3 point shy of 30. So is there any risk in telling guys to play for those milestones a little bit down the stretch here, or are you fine with it?
Go one word. Injury.
Oh, well, sure. Injury, sure, but you always hear coaches talk about teamwork and wanting to keep a cohesive unit and all of that. Is there any worry, or are you telling?
I mean, those guys play for each other, man. Like, if somebody's really passionate about hitting those milestones,
they'll get them there.
Well, especially like right now, it's not like they're playing for things where they're concerned about where they're going to be positioned in the playoffs. Now, if you're really concerned about the President's Cup, maybe you talk about that. But I think, those just getting guys up for a game and knowing that you're there and know what goes on in somebody's head on your team, right?
Sure.
Like, if that's important to a guy, then feed him the puck. Who cares at this point?
True enough.
The other part of that, too, is like how crazy it is. McKinnon at the beginning of the year was like, man, guy can't score, score. And it's like, I'll take that every year if at the end of the year he's playing like this and it goes into the playoffs like this.
And he's, for a dude who couldn't score for 30 games, he's about to score 30 goals on the year. So if 30 goals is a down year for Nathan McKinnon, okay, seems good, I guess.
Just makes it interesting, so you have something to talk about at the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
has Mac fallen off?
gotta keep it entertaining somehow, I guess. Anyway, I mean, what chat's talking about a little bit. What's your take on Francouz here? You would imagine he'd get a decent number of games down the stretch here, if only because the Avs played 10 games in 17 days.
Yeah.
So he's already signed to a contract. There's not really a whole lot to prove there. Of course, you always want to see him play solid, but another guy where it's like, what do you have to play for?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think it's really starting to get into that routine. And if Kemper's like injured or like we've talked about, small little twinges, then you rest him, you sit him. I mean, you have a great backup that can play, that you're not concerned about him in net losing you games, right? So why not play him if Kemper's not feeling 100%, and also letting him know that he is going to get the reps that he should be getting. I mean, obviously he was going to play tonight. Like, what do you think?
Never a doubt.
On a back-to-back, unless you're really hungry for points like a certain team last night. I don't know. What do you do down the stretch now? Do you play him at all?
Kemper?
Well, no.
Or Francouz,
because I think what you want to do is have that rhythm, that routine going into the playoffs.
The thing is, the Avs end the season with a back-to-back. So.
Oh yeah, well. silly me thinking this was the last back-to-back. There's been so many.
That'd be too easy.
Yeah,
that'd be too easy. But yeah, I mean, I honestly think you could go either way. It's one of those situations where we've seen the Avs have been really good about communicating with their players this year.
Yeah.
So I do think they'll go to Darcy and they'll be like, pretty much every game day, they'll be like, do you want this one? And if he says no, then Francouz will go. So that simple. I think it's a great way to go about it too, as long as Kemper is smart.
Yeah.
We've seen the penchant for hockey players to say yes to that question literally no matter what. So you got to be a little bit aware there.
It's the new era in coaching.
It is a little bit of a new era for sure in that regard.
Well, do you remember like when Forsberg decided that he needed to take a rest because his body just wasn't healing?
Yep.
Like it was such a big shocker to the hockey world. Like,
Yep.
is he not built for hockey? Is like some of the comments that were going on at that time. You're like, what? One of the greatest hockey players ever, and you're having that question because the dude was listening to his body and it was not good.
Yeah. The same guy who, just had his spleen explode in a hockey game. Come on. Don't be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Looking at the schedule going down the stretch here for the Avs. Obviously, we have the party bus coming up Saturday.
Yep.
Hope all y'all will join us for that. That's against Carolina. Should be a big game. Should be a fun
Great game. Yeah.
Let's go. On Monday, you have the Capitals. Not a
Good
team
game.
that has a ton to play for, but another good hockey team. And then you have Seattle, Edmonton, and Winnipeg, who certainly Seattle and Winnipeg are going to have nothing to play for at that point.
Yeah.
Edmonton, again, could be interesting, certainly after the Avs found a way to beat them the other last week, a couple days ago. I forget. Time is an illusion. And then they wrap up the season with St. Louis, Nashville, and Minnesota.
Man, what a bland little schedule they have there.
It's really not a lot of there's just not a lot to play for any of those teams.
I mean, on the other side too, there's unless it comes down to like the President's Cup race, maybe you can like talk yourself into like we can be the spoilers.
Yeah.
The Avs aren't going to win it type of thing to try to pump your team up to get ready to play, but I think a lot of those guys are booking tee times and thinking about their vacations that they're going to take during the summer.
I mean, even the dudes that aren't, like Minnesota's squarely second in the West.
Yeah, they have nothing to really play for either.
The only team that's really questionable is Nashville. They could end up in a battle at the end of the year.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't seem like there's going to be a whole lot to play for the rest of the year. Looks like we got another $5 from Banks. Y'all think Bo will have any aftershock from the hit last night, or has he looked okay? I think he's fine. It certainly didn't look like he hit his head or anything on the replays.
No, I mean, it looked like a clean hit, and he was fine. And, that's the reaction you're going to get from Eric Johnson when you hit his deep partner that's missed quite a few games with a head injury.
Yeah, I was perfectly fine with the reaction, too.
Yeah.
As someone who usually is anti-taking dumb penalties, EJ can take that one all day. So,
love it. Sticking up for the teammate.
For sure. Don't take any of that from anybody. So, that part of it worked out.
Yeah, and Bo's been playing well. I mean,
2 assists last night. He's clearly finding the rhythm again, and obviously the Avs defense has been kind of scoring at will as of late.
I mean, it's fun when you see a defenseman just turn his skates up ice and just go.
Yep.
Like, getting himself into those plays in the offensive zone, making great passes too, not trying to do everything himself. It's awesome to watch.
I talked about it on my review video of last game too. It's such an unbelievable net positive for the Avs when you have defensemen that they get the puck and start skating it out of their own zone, and nobody catches them.
Yep.
All of the Kings behind them are out of the play now because they couldn't catch Bo on, was it the second goal, I think? So the Avs have such a huge advantage against so many teams in that regard. It's super fun to watch. But all right, Blais, you made us some money last night.
Yeah,
you gonna make us some money again here?
2 out of 3, not bad. A little scary there for a little bit. I really thought that the Avs were gonna keep the Kings to under 1 or 2 goals. Didn't happen, but whatever.
Tough sell on that one.
Tonight I'm going with the basically the parlay here. Ooh. So this is for a plus 180. If you go on to DraftKings at the top there, where you can scroll and look at all the offers they have. Basically, it's a parlay protection where as long as you only get one of the legs wrong, you'll just get your money back.
There you
go. So thought, well, let's do this. So I'm thinking the Avs are going to win this. I've got Colorado with the first goal.
Yep.
Colorado last goal, empty net.
Yep. Math adds up.
And then Colorado winning the first. Pretty easy.
So you need just first goal in the first period for Colorado, and
I need
it starts
them to be
look
hot,
real good. Yeah.
And then just kind of
ride
that train all the way to the end of the game.
Hold a 2-goal lead and then dump one into the empty net. Get paid on that one. I like that bet. I like the Avs to continue feeding Cale Makar points.
Yes.
Given I think the whole team wants him to push for the Norris.
If you've watched this show for the whole year, you know the bets that you should probably just go and take because they've been 90% of our bets on this show and they
free
pay
money.
out. Yeah.
All of them paid last night. So it's been fun betting on the Avs this year.
You didn't make any money. You have horrible luck.
Yeah, you made some mistakes in life, for sure.
Yeah, when you're putting up that many points, if you're doing anything with the players, good.
Yeah, you have horrible luck.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what expectations are from Colorado down these last 9 games. I'm just gonna enjoy watching them, and as I think everyone is in agreement with Banks here, let's just get to May.
Yeah.
let's get to the playoffs already. So
I mean, I wonder what it's like with those veterans now in that locker room, just telling them what they should be doing, what they should be focusing.
Expectations,
yeah,
kind of
because
thing,
it's like, it's hard to like turn stuff off and then turn it back on. And obviously, we haven't seen the Avs have an issue with turning it on. But if you did sit and just kind of play a mediocre game for 9 more games,
well, and it is an interesting locker room when you look at the experience there.
Yeah.
You have a guy like Andre Burakovsky who has won a Stanley Cup. Who, look, I don't go in the locker room much, but clearly, Berkey has never been a significant vocal leader on any of his teams. But he has that experience, so maybe that's a spot where he can step up. You have other guys down the lineup. Jack Johnson, not the most playoff experience in the world, but he's been around the league for a long, long time now. And you go up and down the lineup, and I think you do hit this interesting scenario where the Avs do have this, I don't want to say core of players, but this group of players where it's like, are they too young and dumb to know any better? Just hockey players have spent their whole careers being the best players in their leagues and all that. Guys like Alex Newhook, where it's like maybe they don't really quite understand how crazy the NHL playoffs can get, and they just expect to go in there and be good.
I mean, I think they've all experienced in some level. Like, obviously, the NHL is the best of the best, but like, these guys are playing in tournaments all over the world.
For sure. Team
USA, whoever, Team Canada, whoever they're playing for. I mean, they're starting to match up against those kids that are coming up at that same age. But you do go against guys that have been there, have done that, are a little bit older.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more mature. Like Alex Newhook still needs to grow into his body a little bit.
Definitely true.
So, yeah, it's an interesting like mix-up of what's going to happen here. But, I mean, I think with that veteran leadership that you have now, they're going to help guide these younger kids.
I definitely agree, and it is really interesting to see EJs and guys start to transition into those roles. It's funny because players like McKinnon and Landeskog, they're still in their mid to late 20s, but they're part of the veteran leadership of this team, too.
Well, and they've experienced it now. Like, they know what to do. So it's not like those first few years when we started, seeing McKinnon, seeing Rantanen, where there was issues at the end of the year where, they were kind of goofing off. That's not happening anymore. They're taking this very seriously.
Of course. Look, I think the core especially of this team knows you only get so many cracks at the can, right? Yeah. So you got to show up and get it done. Banks being incredibly generous. Another $20 today.
Wow.
Thank you very, very much for some pregame Jaeger shots and just to show y'all love my favorite podcast. Thanks for getting me through the morning each day. Thank you so much, Banks. That's super generous of you. We appreciate it. We'll definitely have a drink on you for sure.
Hopefully the Jaeger's back.
There was no Jaeger last night. Slacking out here.
He said somebody drank it all last week. So
I wonder who that could have been. Me. Okay. Sure. We are about 10 minutes away from puck drop, so we're going to wrap this thing up. We appreciate all of y'all so much. We will be back post-game, hopefully joined by AJ. By AJ, if he isn't under 8 feet of snow. We'll see. We appreciate you again, and we will talk to you after the game.